Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 5 for the UFL season and power rankings for week 5 as well. Quite a lot of upsets in week 4 happened, and thus we have a new number 1 team once again. So before I dive right into it, I want to quickly say if you're new, subscribe is greatly appreciated. Leave a like and comment down below your own rankings and your own thoughts, and let's get right into it. To kick things off, at number 8 is the Memphis Showboats. Going into this game, it kind of did feel like that this was one of the chances for Memphis to steal a game and win one, but the play on the field showcased why I completely despise a 2 QB system for a team. It never seemed like they were able to truly find a rhythm on offense. EJ Perry and Trey Williams were being switched out every drive, and I'm not a fan of a 2 QB system. The one good offensive drive that they had was set up by a special teams mistake on Michigan's part that got him ball on the 20-yard line. And then even then, they only found the end zone thanks to a DPI saving the drive. Just did not look good offensively. Defense played fine enough, and the defense can only do so much in a case like this. Because when the ground game ain't working the greatest at 2.8 yards per carry, when the passing game cannot get anything going consistently because you're switching out quarterbacks each and every drive, the defense is going to eventually fall apart, and they did in the fourth quarter in this game, which led to it being more so of a blowout. But Memphis is a team where, yes, they had some changes entering this game. And yes, they knew their new offensive coordinator needed to figure out who was the guy. This game showed absolutely nothing as to who the guy would have been. I feel like if they were really needed to figure out a definitive starter for week 5 and beyond, you have each quarterback play a half. I still don't think it would have worked too well in getting the win, but it definitely would have worked better in figuring out who your starter is. Number 7 is the Houston Roughnecks. They played well coming off of their win in the week prior, and they put up a really solid fight against another top team in the league in the defending champs. Nolan Henderson was named the full-time starter after the win last week. He goes down relatively early in this one, and Jalen McClellan steps in and plays really well. He's not the same type of mobile quarterback that both Anthony Brown and Nolan Henderson are, but having that guy use a more definitive pocket passer and more definitive just pure arm guy definitely showed in this one, definitely showed for the betterment of this team. And he played really well through the air. He even ran the ball in his own right pretty well. I'm pretty sure he led the team in rushing yards because the ground game did not show up today, really. There was a very limited amount of carries for anyone not named Jaquandre White, and even then, Jaquandre White didn't really run the ball all too great. And that's kind of one of the issues with this Houston team is there still definitely are missing Kurt Merritt. He's been out the past few weeks. Once he gets back, maybe we can see this ground game work a little bit better. But also, Merritt is just a great guy out of the backfield with his hands and being able to use his receiving abilities as he used to play receiver. Their defense played a pretty solid game against the pass, picking off Corral once, but against the ground, they were no threat at all to stop them. Larry Roundtree and CJ Marable had themselves a great day in this one. But even with all that, they had 2 drives that stalled in plus territory, and they definitely still could have won this game. It's a great showing. Only reason they're not higher is because San Antonio got a win this week. But yeah, I do like Houston still. They have a pretty solid foundation now. They're going to come in at number 7. Number 6 is the San Antonio Brahmas. It was the biggest surprise of the week with the Brahmas getting a massive win against the DC Defenders for their first win on the season. And Peyton Party gets a win in his head coaching debut as he's interim going forward. Taylor Mond played well with a good touchdown pass to Greg Ward. Anthony McFarland was a big factor in this game as well. And I know the stat sheet doesn't really say it, but he had 14 carries for 55 yards. And it's not the most standout of showings, but every time McFarland can get his hands on the ball, it allows other things to open up, and we saw it in this game as well. The defense also played fine. They let Tiamu have a day, though, both through the air and on the ground, as he threw for about 300 yards and rushed for about 75. Abram Smith was held to only about 3 yards per carry, which is again the most neutral stat that could have happened. The difference maker in this game, though, was Matthew Sexton and the special teams unit. It was the very first punt return touchdown on the season for the entire UFL, and it was the difference maker in this game, as it set up a great first quarter that then allowed San Antonio to just play their style throughout the rest of this game and seal the win. It was a great win. This is what San Antonio could be consistently, and if they are this consistently, they're going to be a very tough team to stop. At Lake San Antonio, they come in at number 6. Number 5 is the St. Louis Battlehawks. Back-to-back very tough losses for them, and they lose their quarterback in this one with Mandy Wilkins going down on the opening drive, and he fumbled on that play. I'm not going to put it against him, but it is a fumble that led to a scoop and score, and it was kind of the difference in this game. Duggan came in and played fine for an out of the blue start, basically. It was similar to a Corral situation in week 2. He had a 47% completion and was leading a great drive to tie this game, but it ended up going the other way in the end. The ground game played well with 122 yards as a team, and you can tell that Akeem Butler is the missing piece. There's so many situations in both these past 2 weeks where if they had Akeem Butler to just make a single play, they would have been in this. They would have had a great chance to win both games. In this one, it was those final 2 plays in the game: third and goal from the 3, fourth and goal from the 3. If they have Hakeem Butler on both of those plays, the ball is going his way both times, and he's coming down with it at least one. So you can tell that this team is missing something. Because again, no matter how good of a defense you're going up against, Hakeem Butler is a mismatch. He's a great receiver for this team. The defense did do their best to keep them in this game, and they held Arlington scoreless for the middle quarters in this one. But simply, if you can't finish a drive, you're not typically going to win a lot of games, and that was the biggest issue for St. Louis in this one. Is they would get drives into plus territory, but just couldn't finish, and thus they lose back to back, and thus they fall to number 4 is the Arlington Renegades, and they needed an offensive showing like this. It was a big time showing for the offense. After 2 weeks of putting up a combined 20 points, they had a much better showing that was similar to week 1, but obviously wasn't the same dominance as week 1. Perez threw well with 68% completion, and he had a touchdown. He did throw a pick 6 that really made this one a game, but it is also the only thing I have to hold against him. The ground game took a bit of a backseat again, and I don't really love it. I feel like they should kind of try and depend on that ground game, but it hasn't been working, and Perez has been playing well, so I get it. The defense was locked down in this one as well. Chris Odom played incredibly well. He was an all UFL player last year, and this game is the perfect game to showcase why. He had that scoop and score in the opening drive. He had 2 sacks in this one, and the Renegades as a whole had 6 sacks. And even one of them, shout out to Taco Charlton, he had one in this game. That's a former Miami Dolphin right there. And he was signed just prior to this game during the week. It was a great bounce back win for the Renegades after the way they finished the week 3 matchup against Birmingham. And they have been able to finish a lot more games this year, unlike last year where they started 0-6. They are 3-1 this year and are tied for the top of the XFL conference. They're sitting really good. They come in at number 4. Number 3 is the Birmingham Stallions. It wasn't the cleanest of wins, but it was still a win nonetheless, and they were able to get the job done. Corral did get injured in this one, but before he left, he played really well, including 2 touchdowns, one a deep shot to Dion Kane, one over the middle to Devion Davis. And then Case Cookis came in, and he played well enough to seal the deal. He went 1 for 2 passing with a good corner route that he threw. But again, it's the uncertainty of which Corral's status is at is going to be a question mark, and the only reason why they aren't in the top 2 for me. Because for as much as I do like Case Cookis, and he does have the talent to hold them over in the meantime, is not to the same level that Corral's is or that Alex McHughes would have been. He's not the same type of mobility to him. He doesn't have the same type of arm strength to him. But he's still a solid player that can definitely win them a majority of games during the next, I believe it's 3 weeks until McGee comes back. But yeah, and plus, if the ground game continues to play like how it did, he's going to be just fine. DJ Marable and Larry Roundtree both have 4 yards per carry in this one and played really, really damn well. The defense was a great bend, don't break style, and thus, when push comes to shove, they were able to get the job done. Harrison Mevis is also a great kicker this year. He's 8 for 8, including a 50-yarder in this game. He went 3 for 3 for the game. The thicker kicker, as he is called. And since their week 1 loss to DC, this Birmingham team has really bounced back and gotten some really nice wins. So thus, they're in the top 3 at number 3. Number 2 is the DC Defenders. I struggled with how much I wanted to drop DC, or if I even wanted to drop them at all. In the end, I do feel like they played well enough throughout the entire game on offense and defense. They both sides of the game did their job completely, and they nearly came back down from 2 touchdowns early. But football is a 3-phase game, and special teams is still a very big important part of football. And that punt return that they gave up ended up being the game changer in this one. But again, even with all of that, Tiamu played really well. He threw for 200 yards, rushed for 75, had a touchdown on the ground. The defense wasn't able to really get home in the pass rush in this one, but they still did a pretty good job forcing tackles for loss. They also got their hand on 2 passes. Abram Smith played fine enough. I would have liked to see him kind of have a breakout showing in this one, considering what San Antonio's running defense has given up in the past few weeks. But he still had 3 yards per carry and a very solid showing. Braylon Sanders, Chris Rowland, and Cordell Powell all had great games with 50 plus yards on each of them receiving. And again, DC was just one uncharacteristic special teams mistake away from easily winning this game. I'm not going to put it too much against them. They're not a team that's going to be giving that up often, and thus they come in at number 2. Number 1 is the Michigan Panthers. Was really thinking about if they fully deserve this top spot. Ended up deciding they did for really one main reason. Their lone loss on the season against the defending champs was in large part due to a muffed punt. And yes, I know I said during the power rankings right after that game that there was a lot of other reasons they lost that game. But when it came down to it, if they didn't muff that punt, they would have had about 4 minutes with great starting field position. So really, that's the main thing people hark on. That's the main thing I'll hark on for the sake of this. But they still feel like they've been playing a lot of really solid games this year, and they have found a really good rhythm. Bryce Perkins played well with 68% completion, 200 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Nate McCrary and Toa Tawa both played really well on the ground, having a combined 113 yards and 2 touchdowns on 21 carries. The defense also played really well. They had 2 sacks and a big time interception in this game. And overall, they have a very nice style that I love. And the fact that they've still been missing one of their top defensive players and still been playing a fantastic job with defensively. Breeland Speaks has been out the past few weeks. I'm not sure exactly when he's expected to be back, but when he does get back, it's going to make this already really good front 7 even better. So Michigan comes in at the top spot, the new number 1 ranked team in the UFL. Okay, so there you have a quick little rundown. Showboats at 8, Roughnecks at 7, Brahmas at 6, Battlehawks at 5, Renegades at 4, Stallions at 3, Defenders at 2, and at number 1, the Michigan Panthers. Again, that top 4, really you can shift it around any way you like, and I would not be mad. I struggled quite a bit with figuring out that top 4. This is just what I ended up landed on. So I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time. Have yourselves a damn good one. Peace.